Tēnā kōrua, Victoria and John. Nice to see you, John. Thanks for coming in. And kia ora koutou katoa, everyone in the room. Great to see so many of our awesome advisory panel members and liaison staff and people who've supported you throughout this term all here. It's fantastic to see so many people here to come share with us today. So first of all, I will just leave it up to our advisory panel extraordinaire leader, what are we calling you, Councillor Ferry, who's done obviously a fantastic job in this space. And I will give it over to Julie and she will lead off today's session. Kia ora.
Thanks, Chair. And I won't actually say too much at the start because I'm probably going to get to round up as well. So, but the Mayor just reminded me that the advisory panels exist at the discretion of the Mayor, and he wanted to make sure that that was acknowledged. And I think I speak for all the governing body, which is probably pretty unusual. I can do that. When I say that we have really, really appreciated your hard work this term. The advice and reflections that you've brought to us have been very valuable and have had a very real impact on decisions that we've made and also processes that Council uses. Sometimes that change takes a long time, as you all know, but it has been incredible. And I want to, I'll hand over to Victoria in a second, who I know is going to introduce the item from a staff perspective. Victoria has been amazing to work with too, and it's been great to be able to have John, who is actually an advisory panel alumnus, who has come in and been able to support alongside too. So I'll add some more at the end, but I guess just to remind folks that this is their end of term opportunity to point out what they've got done, but also make the case for what needs to happen next as well. So it'd be great, people, when you have questions, maybe focus on that future frame with them, and they are going to come up two at a time as well. So just be mindful of asking the right question to the right board rep, that would be panel rep, that would be great. Yeah, and just stoked to be able to be here in person because I haven't seen any of you in person for almost 3 months. So kia ora, thanks. Over to Victoria.
Oh, kia ora, thank you. So this item today is about receiving the end of term reports from Council's 6 demographic and 3 sector panels and acknowledging the contribution of every member over the term. This has been a term of growth and evolution. The Mayor introduced the small business panel and refreshed the city centre panel. Cross-panel collaboration increased by over 240%. And panels engaged with local boards on regional matters, such as emergency management. Panel community engagement reached new levels, including formal reporting and recommendations. And these efforts have led to specific and tangible action by Council in response, which we'll hear about today. So we've prepared 9 individual reports and a comprehensive review of the demographic panels, providing a clear record of their work, impact and key insights. The review was highly collaborative, it was panel-led, and it was drawing on over 400 pieces of feedback. It also includes reflections from staff about how the panels helped shape quality-informed advice. Staff and councillors consistently described the panels as enriching, credible and inspiring. Just some acknowledgements. I want to sincerely thank everyone involved with the panels this term, most especially, of course, the panel members, as well as the staff who seek their advice. From the volunteer officers leading the panels, to the governance advisors, thank you, Millie, to the Chief Executive, ELT, the Mayor, of course, and councillors, especially our liaison councillors and councillor chairs. Your commitment to working with and supporting the panels, often late at night or in the middle of busy days, is what makes it all work. Special thanks to Councillor Ferry for your leadership of the panels. It's been such a privilege and pleasure working with you. I'm delighted that John Kingy, former panel member and facilitating author of the demographic panel review, is joining us today. Thank you, John, for your ongoing dedication to the panel's kaupapa and all the progress we've been able to bring about this term. I'd like to acknowledge all members completing their second term, and we have many here today or watching on the live stream. 6 years of service on the panels. Your contribution has been invaluable. For our departing chairs, Irene, Claire, Teresa, Martine, Litiana, I can't imagine a co-chairs forum without you. Before we hear from the co-chairs, first up, the ethnic communities and senior advisory panels, we'll just show a very brief video highlighting the demographic panels this term, and thanks to council videographer Jay Farnworth for your mahi. Thank you, Sandra.
I don't get any
Coming into this space, I feel like I've been able to hold up my community by sharing their voices and their lived experiences. The most valuable thing you can bring to the table is what you've been through and what the people that you love have been through. So I'm just gunning for Tamaki Makaurau to continue on the pathway of being a city of inclusivity, progression, and multiculturalism.
This is an important part of to be inclusive when you are actually part of this wonderful phenomenon, feedback, decision making at the local government. This is a great experience. Whenever we go back to our communities to ask, have your say, this is your place to say.
It's a really interesting outlet for having engagement with council, learning what's going on, having the ability to provide feedback to officers from an older person's perspective. It's a rare opportunity to contribute to the future of the city and being a part of the decisions that will impact future generations forever and ever.
A third of New Zealand's people call Tamaki Makaurau Auckland home, and our community is as diverse as any globally. To be relevant, to deliver services people want and need, for there to be healthy local democracy, we need the active participation of all of our communities. Auckland Council's demographic advisory panels have a vital role in this. Over a 3-year term, they advise us on policy, they bring forward important issues, they help shape the city and region we want for the future. That's of huge value to all of us.
Well, that was awesome. Great video, and it's awesome to see the sort of city represented that way through the video. Now, first up, I have got our Ethnic Community Advisory Panel and our Seniors Advisory Panel members. The members will introduce themselves at the table. Also, I think they've been told 5 to 7 minutes, and then there'll be some questions. So if everyone could make sure that they are able to complete their speaking turn, and then we'll have some questions, some focused questions, please. Kia ora. So if you just want to bring your microphones as close to you as possible, and then the button on the right, I'm sure you've used them before to speak. Kia ora.
Nisambula Vinaka, Assalamu alaikum, Namaskaram, greetings. It is nice to be here for the end of term advisory panels briefing and reporting that we are about to provide. My name is Irene Rahman Manuel, and I'd like to now introduce my co-chair.
Kia ora koutou Nisambula Vinaka, namaste, my name is Krishnadu, and I'm one of the co-chairs for ECAP. Thank you.
As starting members of the demographic panels, we would like to acknowledge Mayor Wayne Brown for believing and having the advisory panels return. Thank you. We'd like to also acknowledge the council leads, and in particular, Chief Liaison Councillor Julie Ferry, and the wider Auckland Council staff and the CCOs. All advisory panels bring an intersectionality of voices. They identify and streamline thematic areas of key concerns and bring in opportunities that benefits all Aucklanders. In a demographic society, inclusion and consultation is key. Hearing from those with lived experiences is important, so policies and planning reflect the values, the voices, and a collective vision for those who live, work, and play in Auckland. The report of the Ethnic Communities Advisory Panel is referred to in your report on pages 27 to 42 is what we're going to speak about at a high level. Krish and I will take turns to do this. The ECAP is focused on fostering the values of belonging, well-being, and equity for all Auckland's diverse ethnic communities. Now, we are talking about more than 200 diverse ethnic communities that makes Auckland very unique. The ECAP's key strategic priority areas included belonging and inclusion, well-being and safety, economic growth and development, transport access, and climate action and sustainability. Our members, of course, represented a broad range of ethnic backgrounds, reflecting Auckland's cultural diversity, and their collective knowledge informed recommendations on how council services and systems could better serve ethnic communities in Auckland. I'd like to acknowledge our panel members who have given all and way beyond and what they have been asked to do as advisors. Adil Basha, Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Acacia Kochais, Eva Chen, Parminder Singh, Rosindra Kumar, Jasmine Yang, Luke Ken, and of course my co-chair, Krish Naidu. We'd also like to acknowledge support staff, Manoj Raghupati and Michaela Sito, who are co-lead officers from Auckland Council, governance advisor Millie, and principal advisor for all panels, Victoria Weeks-Brown. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Kieran Leone for the work that she has done and being part of the Ethnic Peoples Advisory Panel. So we'd like to first talk about the first focus area, which is belonging and inclusion. And I'd like to keep it very short because we know we are short of time. I have been in this role for the last 6 years. And I'd like to talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity strategy for workforce development in Auckland Council for ethnic peoples. From the onset, ECAP has been very vocal in advocating for Auckland Council to demonstrate strong leadership and commitment to DEI, urging the Council to lead by example. This was a piece of work that we carried from the last two panels' work, which means 9 years of work in total. Despite numerous asks, we had limited data available to us to provide timely and worthy advice. It is only towards the end of this term, which is last month, that we had the opportunity to receive data from senior and the new DEI lead. Despite the setbacks, we are rest assured that there's a renewed focus on DEI, and we are delighted to see the pathways in place that will enhance pathways for all workforce at Auckland Council to progress. We leave with the hope that Auckland Council will reflect Auckland's diversity at all facets of Auckland Council's workforce makeup and within its leadership team here as well. Krish.
Thank you, Irene. As part of belonging and inclusion, one of our aims were to help support local body elections for 2025 by increasing ethnic voter turnout and participation, as well as increase the diversity of candidates who put their names up. And I'm really grateful to the elections working group that was formed last year, where 2 members of each panel were representing as part of the cross-working elections working group. And we provided a lot of strategic guidance to Council and a lot of practical tips and suggestions have been shared and positively received by the group. And we are delighted that for the first time since 2016, the number of ethnic Asian candidates have risen by 7%. It would be interesting to see whether the number of candidates increasing actually translates into higher voter turnout and success of the candidates itself. In addition, we have strongly advised on the equitable opportunities for Auckland local boards to develop a ethnics panel engagement or action plan. We know that FAO and Upper Harbour local boards have this in place, and it would be good to see this in areas of Manukau, South and East Auckland. We have also invited past unsuccessful candidates who took part in the elections to come forward and talk about their challenges and barriers to participation. We know there's a lot of work to be done on the ground to improve voter turnout in Auckland, and we've heard from existing candidates the lack of understanding within ethnic communities around the difference between local boards, the wards, the role of the governing body continues to be a challenge. However, we are heading on the right direction. The other part of our key themes were around well-being and safety. While safety is quite a broad area, I would like to just focus on public transport and retail crime. We are all aware that for the last few years, there's been several incidents involving bus drivers and passengers, and ECAP has been at the forefront of it by asking AT to present to us on their safety framework and communication strategy. We have provided feedback around orientation of bus drivers, increasing support for pastoral care, de-escalation technique, and first aid training. And we are very pleased that AT has committed to install bus driver protection screens in 80% of the buses for the next 2 years. In addition, retail crime has been a problem in New Zealand for the last few years, and we've met with the New Zealand Police National Retail Investigation Support Unit, and they've presented to us on the safety of small business and well-being. ECAP has reiterated the importance of ensuring that Auckland Council assistance for ethnic small businesses impacted by such incidents are taken into consideration, and we acknowledge the positive improvement in this space, especially around the reduction of REM rates. I'll now pass it over to Irene to talk about economic development.
Thank you. The ECAP is the only panel with economic development and growth as one of its focus areas. The aim was to have ethnic and migrant businesses and workers fully participate in Auckland's economy and prosperity. We received information from Auckland Council's procurement practices and support the inclusion of policies and practices that allow small businesses to fully participate in Auckland Council's procurement for goods and services. To support greater inclusion and economic participation of ethnic and migrant communities, the panel contributed feedback to the Auckland Council long-term plan and annual plan. We welcome the opportunity to advise on key areas such as urban regeneration, economic and cultural development, and the funding of major events, including the proposed bed levy. The Auckland Council procurement team shared updates on current procurement practices. We advocated for the inclusion of policies that enable greater participation of all, but also ethnic businesses. The panel advocated for a robust engagement and strategy on how to work with relevant business councils that are based in Auckland.
In addition, we are really grateful that we've had the opportunity to contribute towards the Royal Commission of Inquiry into New Zealand's COVID-19 response. And we, as co-chairs, highlighted the disproportionate negative impact experienced by ethnic businesses due to extended lockdowns and mandates.
I would now like to move on to our last point, and that is climate action and sustainability. The aim was that ethnic and migrant communities are informed and they are part of a resilient planning when it comes to climate action tragedies. We are pleased to report that we feel that we have contributed well on this area that we wanted to be part of from the onset. We received information on Auckland Council's efforts to address climate change, and ensure ethnic and migrant communities are made aware of the support available to move towards greater sustainability. We collaborated with other demographic advisory panels on climate action and resilience to provide joined-up advice to Auckland Council. We worked closely in advising how Auckland's emergency management systems can be more ready and responsive to the needs of ethnic and migrant communities during emergency events. All feedback for the panel was based on Auckland Climate Action Plan. This provides the overarching and guided advice for all priority areas that we focused on across the board. Following the floods that happened in Auckland in 2023, January, our collective concern remained that ethnic people have always been or often been excluded from disaster risk reduction planning. Ethnic people have unique vulnerabilities as well as unique knowledge and resources, as many have lived experiences of climate disasters and displacement. We have continued to advise all stakeholders to engage grassroots voices in all stages of disaster risk reduction efforts. These include planning and preparedness to response and recovery, ensuring that their perspectives are considered in decision-making processes. By promoting long-term resilience through building and strengthening community capacity and equitable access to resources, and enhanced recovery that embraces dignity of all Aucklanders will be achieved. Thank you.
There's quite a bit of recommendations to improve things on. However, I'm just going to touch on a few things very briefly. It would be great to see a more stronger feedback mechanism to understand how the improvement and effectiveness of our advice has been. So we're giving a lot of advice, but we need that feedback to come through back to the panel members. As well as Council's communication team should regularly and timely provide updates on panel's work and achievements to ensure greater transparency and create public awareness. On behalf of ECAP, I'd just like to say a big thank you to the Mayor and the governing body for giving us the opportunity, and we hope that you'll continue to support having all the demographic panels for the new term. I'll now pass it over to Suzanne and Clea from the seniors team. Kia ora.
Thanks, Krish and Irene. And tēnā koutou katoa, Claire Dale, one of the co-chairs, obviously. Similar to the Ethnic Communities panel, our focus this term has been on belonging, well-being, safety and access. In the framework of the Age-Friendly Auckland Plan, we addressed these in terms of housing, safety and accessibility, and transport. In 2023, Auckland Council established Te Raupu, the implementation group for Age-Friendly Auckland, and two seniors panel members sit on that group as kaitiaki. Council staff managing Te Raupu regularly attend panel meetings, providing updates on progress and achievements. The guiding principle of age-friendly cities is that when something is good for seniors, it's good for all ages and abilities. So, housing. Depleted stocks of senior housing, rising rents and housing costs, and trends to largely unaffordable retirement villages are increasingly locking seniors out. Council plays a critical role in establishing the planning and policy framework for housing, including social housing, and remains a seniors housing provider via its partnership with Selwyn Foundation and Haumaru Housing and Council's Own Your Own Pensioner Housing. This term, the panel has met with council planners, Haumaru Housing and Kainga Ora about seniors housing needs and age-friendly Auckland targets and developments. The panel has also engaged with other organisations, including the Coalition to End Women's Homelessness in May 2025, and in August presenting at a Navigating Housing and Homelessness hui for people working in the sector. Safety impacts on health and well-being. Safety was at the centre of the panel's responses to proposed changes to dog walking policy and bylaw presented by council staff. Lack of safety and lack of access to support and necessary medical services were some of the negative experiences suffered by communities during the anniversary weekend floods. Through 2023 and 2024, Auckland Emergency Management Team, local boards and fire and ambulance services met with the advisory panels and community groups to identify weaknesses and possible improvements in future weather emergency responses. One result was developing local board emergency readiness and response plans. An exercise and report created by panel members in 2024 identified safety and accessibility challenges, hazards, risks, issues, and positive surprises experienced by seniors navigating the CBD. After this exercise, shared widely within Council, the 2025 version of the Auckland Design Manual contained a similar videoed walking tour of the CBD. Regarding transport, seniors panel members have contributed many hui, including on the Northwest Rapid Transit, the City Centre Plan, and Auckland Transport's draft Regional Land Transport Plan. Seniors panel and disability panel co-chairs met with the CEs and staff from AT and Eki Panuku to try to reverse AT's removal of the bus stop from the Waiheke Ferry Wharf, a change that has badly impacted older and disabled Waiheke residents. Other unresolved transport concerns include, firstly, unlike most other cities globally, AT restricts e-scooters to footpaths and does not require licences or helmets for riders, making footpaths unsafe for people trying to use them. Secondly, the excessive difficulty in accessing a total mobility card. And third, finally, the draft city centre parking management plan does not ensure access for less mobile citizens through pick-up and drop-off zones beside public spaces and places. And finally, before I hand over to Suzanne, just to thank you to the council and to our lead councillor for and all the workers who've supported us through this term. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, I'm Suzanne Tapsell. Claire has referred to the activities that the senior panel has engaged in during this term, and I would like to comment generally on this. It became clear partway through 2024 that the priorities developed in 2023 under age-friendly reference points might not exactly reflect the main concerns of many senior residents of Tamaki Makaurau. That while the key headlines may stay the same, sitting under them are issues of deficit that may need to be addressed. The two key features for seniors are the increasing population in this demographic and the evidence of actual poverty in this age group. I'm sure you are aware of the projected growth of numbers in the over 65s. Any future senior panel will determine its priorities, taking into account the age-friendly Auckland plan and ensuring that those priorities reflect the intentions of that plan, but we must acknowledge that the ground is shifting towards more fundamental considerations of social need. Apart from housing, homelessness and basic needs poverty, it is clear there will be an increase in the need for community outreach services to cater for diverse groups across the city. Along with the anticipated rise in numbers of seniors is the anticipated rise in demand for community support for services for health issues such as dementia. Auckland Council already does much through its community programs and relationships with a multiplicity of other organisations, and the panel is keen to continue its advisory role on programs that address these aspects of senior life. The panel wishes to continue as kaitiaki for the age-friendly Auckland plan. With this growing and increasingly diverse seniors population and the increasingly challenging living conditions of this group, the plan has even greater weight in serving as an overarching lens for how well we are doing in our communities. We began with the observation that what is good for seniors will be good for everybody. We end with this thought, that while that is so, it is also true that a larger chunk of everybody will increasingly be senior. It is crucial that this changing demographic is acknowledged and planned for. The senior panel hopes to be there to support and advise council through this interesting period. And to finish, I would like to acknowledge and thank the senior panel members that I've worked for and everybody else. Thank you. It's now question time.
Yes. Kia ora to you all. Thank you for the clear pleas and also the thanks and the ideas, but everything you've done throughout this term. Now I'm going to go to questions, but I would ask members, because we do have a long program, to keep it focused on what was presented and focused on the future and not try and get into too much detailed sort of policy and projects that may not necessarily relate. Kia ora. Councillor Sayers first.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentations. My question is probably towards the senior panel, and the question around rate increases. I don't have oversight about how the pension increases at what rate, and versus, the ability for people to pay their rate increases, and how out of sync those things are in terms of, involving cost of living pressures through the rate adjustments.
Certainly the financial pressures are felt by seniors, especially those who are totally reliant on the age pension and are renting, and they're in the most difficult position. And as renters, of course, they're not hit to the same extent by rates increases. As far as rates increases are concerned, I was really pleased to see with the report from council that came out with the rates demand, this time there was clear instructions on how to get discounts or how to delay payments and so on, and I think that was a really useful step forward. I was also very grateful that the rates increase was less than that experienced in most jurisdictions.
Kia ora. Great answer. Thank you. Councillor Fully.
Kia ora, thank you, and thank you to both groups and presentations and for all the work that you've done this term. My question is to our Ethnic Peoples Advisory Panel. What would be your single best advice to us as council in terms of engaging with our ethnic communities better? I know that you've given us a range of different things, but what would be, if there was one thing you could change, what would be your advice to us as council in terms of engaging better with our ethnic communities?
The council endorses the strategy for ethnic peoples panels. I think within the strategy, the council needs to then follow up that those focus areas are met. It's not just a tick box exercise for us anymore, given the large number of ethnic peoples that live in Auckland, but those focus areas need to be resourced quite well within the Auckland Council's leadership as well, to make sure changes happen. What we'd also like to see, Councillor, is, like Krish said before, the feedback, because it's good to give feedback. Where's the closing loop? And we cannot do consultation, we cannot do inclusive practices, and we cannot change practices if we don't receive feedback. Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you. It's good advice.
Great question and answer. Is time for one more question? There's no one else on. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor. Sorry.
Well, it's great because my question actually follows on from that. So first of all, thank you both. And I was going to ask every group what improvements we could make next term to the way we support you. But Chris, you mentioned, and I think you have, sorry, I've got to remember your name, Irene, about the feedback loop coming back. So my question was, how often do you think that should occur? Would biannually be enough? Would be your suggestion?
Probably quarterly. Sometimes organizations present to us, but they never come back, so we don't know what has happened after that. But for example, with the Auckland Transport Safety Team, they've come back to us 3 times. So every time they've come back, they've given us an update, which was great. So I think it's more following up with organizations who are not coming back and what has actually happened with advice on that.
So it's not so much timing, it's as appropriate, but you don't feel that you're getting it right across the board. So I think, Chair, that's something that, well, I'm certainly, Greg and I will be helpful to put that together next term anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Well, thank you all. We will obviously thank the wider group at the end of the session, but yeah, just want to acknowledge your time here and the term. So thank you very much. And we will get the next group to come up. We have Disability Advisory Panel and our Pacific Peoples Advisory Panel coming up now. Kia ora. Did you want us to make room for everyone at the table, or are you going to come up? You're all good? Yeah. So, kia ora. Feel free to come up, though, if you want, Simon. Kia ora. So who would like to lead off? Ani? Yes. We'll just get... Simon's going to... Yep, yes. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa. I mihi ana maua ki ngā te whātua rākei o tira o ngā iwi katoa ki Tāmaki Makaurau. He mea maua koe ko Barry ki te rōpū kaitohu taku te hunga haua Disability Advisory Panel. Ko Anya tōku ingoa. Tēnā rā tātou katoa. So we will keep it short and sweet and just starting off with some highlights from the term, and if you do get a chance to read our full report, we would always appreciate that because we did a lot more than is on these slides. So to start off with, we focused our community engagement this term around emergency planning. So we did a big hui at the end of last year, and I think the disability leadership from the panel was key to that because it meant that there was the buy-in from our community and also from council and from Auckland Emergency Management, which was great. So yeah, there was a really strong appetite out of that for action and collaboration. We were able to record the hui, which meant we had also a transcript from it, and that was really helpful in writing up a report back out of it in some depth, which is published on Knowledge Auckland, so that's also available. That was one of the things that Auckland Emergency Management have shown us have really helped to shape the new disability sector inclusion work program, which is new this year, and there's a multi-year work program with the backing of AEM, and Barry and I presented it to the Civil Defence and Emergency Management Committee a couple of months ago, and we appreciated really good kōrero at that time. So and there's just a photo there from the hui last year. And the next slide, thank you. So our next highlight is around the Disability Action Plan. Oh, sorry, we're good? Okay, good. Okay, it's fine. The Disability Action Plan got a big overhaul this term, which is exciting, acknowledging the policy staff who actually put in the mahi to make that happen. So it's now under Ngā Hapori Momoho, which is the Thriving Community Strategy, which makes it nice and kind of embedded and clear where it sits within council's mahi. And it's also public for the first time, which is great. It means that it's just another accountability mechanism for the wider community as well. And it's being reported on twice a year. And another thing I'm particularly happy to see is that an action plan is about actions, right? But ultimately a lot of these things are practices that we want to become business as usual. So they're being embedded into council's work, and there's kind of a new section now that talks about that. So you see, the actions go out of the action bit and move in there, which is great. And there's just a photo there of people at a playground, including 2 wheelchair users from the front of the action plan. And with that, I will hand over to Barry. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, Anya. We do get on, even though we're sitting a wee way apart. It's just the way the seats are with the legs underneath for my wheelchair, so we do get in quite well. The highlights spotlighting accessibility. Accessibility was on our radar with Eka Panuku. I know they've come into the council, but before they did, we talked to them about access to the mayor's pool, because there is none for disabled people. So we've been talking to them and hassling them about that, which they now have a consultant with a disability that's helping them to make it accessible. So I'm still annoyed about that, but there's some things you can't rush. But I might just fall in and they'll have to come and rescue me. Accessibility improved for the City Rail link. We were informed that the design had come out and they had a mock set up. And when Chris Orr and I went to have a look, one of the other panel members, we found that the designer had put his own spin on how it was for accessibility. And when I argued with him, he wouldn't change it. So we were very lucky that I got in touch with the mayor, and the mayor actually made him change it the way it should be, like it is for the rest of the city. So thank you for that. It made a big difference, because we don't want to change things unless we change the whole system. So some people take poetic license, which isn't good. We've had great success with the parks and accessibility assessments. The parks and recreation guys have been fantastic to us. They've actually gone all out to make sure that we can get out into the parks and recreation, because if you're on a limited budget, at least you can get out and enjoy the great outdoors in your normal chair, because you only get one chair, so it has to be accessible for everybody. And they've also made some things that if you've got a 4-wheel drive wheelchair, you can experience some of that people can go on rugged things as well. So it's been really fantastic. It's been absolutely amazing being able to meet with all the other panel members. We've got on so well. We've clicked together all the panels, and we've really enjoyed being able to share our experiences and see we're very much the same. We might have differences in the, like for us it's access, but the attitudes that how people treat us is very similar. So it's been good to work together and actually get on very well. And we're even going to go to Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, because Josh is in it. So we're all going to go and support Josh for it. So if you've got to go, because it's got a panel member in it. And we've worked well as a team, the co-chairs, because we respect one another and feel really honoured to be there and to support one another. And as I said, our similarities are there and stand out very well. Here's the people on our panel, and I can say that every member of our panel got involved in projects. And you would see that from our report that you've received, and I hope you've read it already. You get marks out of 10 if you can quote some of it, so you better get onto it. But every member of that team has stepped up and actually participated in report writing. And I want to give a mention to Anya, because she set up and ran the emergency response for Auckland on behalf of disabled people. That she wrote a report, and it's been widely received by people around Auckland and New Zealand and further afield. So she's done a brilliant job on what she's done, and so is the other panel members. We're losing some of them, but some of us are staying on because we've had a great experience. And I would like to thank Wayne for giving us another 3 years, and I think it should be mandatory that you have these committees, because basically what we do is can give you an insight into disability to you as a council directly, and we can tell you what we think. That only gives you a glimpse, but it gets the people thinking about what goes on in society. And of course, Councillor Stewart, because she supported us, and Councillor Ferry, she liked it so much she wanted to try being disabled. I mean, what do you say? She wanted to experience it firsthand. So she and also the staff. I think I can't say enough about the staff that support us, right from Victoria, Millie and Elise here, of course, and John, who sponsors the committees. It's been a real experience for me. We've still got a lot of work to do. You're getting the positives here and some of the negatives, but there's a lot more work for us to do, and I think as committees you need us, and we want to stay on, and we want to give that advice directly to the council so that they can mull it over, rather than having they can question things without the public necessarily knowing until you're ready to make a statement. So, and also we met with the local boards, which was a really good experience too. We know we can't be on all of them, but at least they know they can come to us if they need advice. And most of the staff in the council have come for advice, and we've been able to give them. And we've actually got a feedback loop already in place where we ask groups to come back every 3 to 6 months with a report on how they're doing. And that's been a really good monitor for us in being able to check that they're actually doing what they say, except for Wayne, your pool. And it's not your fault, it's the people involved still haven't got it accessible. So it needs to be accessible. So thank you all. And now we'll hand over to Pacifica.
Kia ora, sorry, it's Anya again. I just quickly want to acknowledge both Barry and also the other co-chair, who is not me, but it's Martine Abel-Williamson, because it's the end of her second term, so we appreciate her as well. Kia ora.
I will wait for Simon and then we'll ask questions at the same time. Kia ora, thank you.
Home te pakipaki everyone for the presentation so far. Just to, what we say in Samoan, se iwawai foi, just to renew the energy and the space that we have. We're very privileged and honoured and humbled. Thank you, Chair, for this auspicious opportunity to report back on the last 3 years. I fully endorse and support all my co-chairs and what they've said and what will be said later. We are one family now, and you are more than welcome to join our cool family as well. So thank you very much to my peers and tautoko all the kaupapa that has been presented today. Tēnā koutou katoa toa and warm Pacific greetings. Tu rauna lava le paia from tanga le nei aso. Field pule no, taitai whono. Whai pule ui tū mālo, ma taitai whono, komiti SS e tātou a inga le Auckland Council. Se o lava i le awhinga ruenga. Whaafitai sa moa la o tau tāpua inga mamalu. Wa ia whaatale lei, whaale hanganu, whaale malo, o le anu watu whaatini o tau sala. Tapua i maia o le ato mawhai le tō to'o a sale aula po malai whatu tua fui whatu a wā se tātou sao le nei aso. And congratulations to Samoa's newly elected or Prime Minister-elect La Auli Malia Toa Polotai Vau Schmidt. Firstly, I acknowledge my Lord and Saviour, Jesus, for his love and amazing grace, like the old hymn, throughout this term 22 through to 25. Our faith is our compass in these uncertain times of war, and a lot of Kiwis leaving for Australia. Today you may see it's just a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lookalike on his own. No, I'm here with my lovely sister here, Talia, from our offices. But no, I have a mighty village supporting me and here in spirit. I speak on behalf of my co-chair, Litiana, who completes her 6 years of service on the panel. Alongside my esteemed panel members, I must mention their names. Hainoami, a former co-chair, Hasana, Mary, Sawatulangi Tangalo Penina, Sei Moana, Taituunga, Ayurupotea, Taituunga Fora, Vaifale Melvin, Mawai, Evo, and Arizona. This is the Super A team for the Pasifika panel this term. Most importantly, the 300,000 plus Pacific peoples in Auckland, Tāmaki Makaurau. We all know it's the largest Pacific city in the world. This is our unique bragging point on the planet. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata, our people. Governing body members, you have the report, so I will not read word for word. I'm here to provide some key reminders and to sing, not to say thank you. Us Samoans, we sing thank you, but they'll come later to build up your curiosity. So firstly, this term, we saw the highest ever community engagement stats across the board, especially from our diverse communities. Almighty Paki Paki whānau, yeah, the most. And as was mentioned, and I celebrate it further, this election, we see the highest number of Pacific candidates standing for local elections. That deserves another Paki Paki. Why not? It's not all doom and gloom. So the question is, why? What happened? What changed? Well, apart from our contribution to an array of topics from Samoan tattooing bylaws to water safety and cemeteries the past 3 years, our panel's contribution could be our highly attended engagement event in beautiful Otara with Lotu around storm readiness and recovery. In addition, our community engagement on local body elections making headlines in media. We can go on how this term for the Pasifika People's Advisory Panel was the best, is the best. However, our success must not limit or stagnate more success, further future success to the next mayor. I'm speaking into the future, wow. You need this demographic panel and all the demographic panels. Our selection process was quite vigorous. Therefore, you do get provided with quality advice and authentic lived experience. And of course, the real AI, ancestral intelligence from our ingenuity. It will also benefit this greater Auckland Council whānau, CCOs, including local boards who we want to explore more with next time. Secondly, everyone say, ara moana. Oh, good, thank you, that's good. Thank you for participating. Ara moana Pasifika strategy is super important for us. We've come a long way with this piece of work. So please keep valuing this kaupapa. Ara moana is a trailblazer in Aotearoa New Zealand policy for local government. Other regional councils are trying to copy and paste from us, so we must be on the right track. My final words come from the late MP Whananai Fessel Collins, former councillor and of course chair of the local board in Otara Papatoetoe, who we tragically lost this term, and we as a panel have dedicated this report to his legacy. And his wife sends us love, her love and the girls. They thanked us for dedicating it to him. Sunga ia vasa. In his maiden speech, he said, "E le tu whamaunga se tangata." No one succeeds alone. No one suffers alone. We need each other. Turn to your neighbor and say, "I need you. I need you." Yeah, turn to your neighbor. Yeah, you can say that. It's like we're in church. And with all the social and economic calamities we face, and there was a killing today in America, I believe we need each other more than ever. It is a time of unity, not division. A time of synergy, not wasted energy. A time of genuine equity, not tokenism or any negativism. It is a time of working together, not fighting for power. We all want the best for the city. Otherwise, go home. That's what my mum and dad would say. We all want the best for this great city we call home, born and bred. Thank you all, Your Worship, Mayor Wayne Brown, Councillor Ferry, Councillor Lotu, our support Councillor Whaftai, and I see this sister here, Josephine, Whaftai Josephine, our amazing staff, Paul. These guys all need a pay bonus, please, Your Worship, for Christmas. Paul, Italia, Mike, Millie, John, and of course the incomparable and illustrious Victoria. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to sing for free for you, but I have just a small gift so you can remember me for this term. So my cousin's going to help me. Ole whaasoro lea. Richard, you're chairing today, so you get a chief necklace. This is a chief necklace for you. And you're from the West, and the West is the best. Actually, you're not sure, but I'll stretch it to the West.
Glenfield's the west part
That's
of the
right.
shore, so...
Because that's Shane's area. So Shane, but you're chairing today. That's what David Tua, Joseph Parker. Yeah, and even Trump got one, obviously, I saw at the White House. But yeah, thank you, Chair. And all our councillors, Your Worship Mayor. These are ulas that we used for Whanana Festival celebration. And I thought to bring it today so you can put it in your office or you can wear it to your next Samoan invite. Yeah, if you ever go, make sure you prepare for a lot of food and wear the ula. So we'll start with the councillors. I'm the Mayor from the Moreana Sunga. Ben's from Avondale College, the best college in the world. That's for you, Your Worship. Yeah. Deputy Mayor, who's choir master. Yes, World Choir Games, that was the best. Councillor Ferry, our amazing lead. And the man from the West, and we stretched it out to Richard. Sunga Fletcher, oh yeah, he's running out. Oh, yeah. Don't worry, we have enough. I'll sing my song as he presents it to the councillors. Whawhawhetai, whawhawhetai, wamari e mata e vai. Watasi lava oi, watasi lava oi, iro unei fa moe mo. I have to sing it twice to make sure the necklaces get around. Whawhawhetai, whawhawhetai, wamari e mata e vai. I just switched to the bass. Watasi lava oi, watasi lava oi, iro nei fa moe mo. Nati, wait, it's a third time, last one. Whawhawhetai, whawhawhetai. Sorry. Wamari e mata e va. Councillor Greg, Angela from Manurewa, Tasi lava oi, Tasi, the mighty Josephine, Malukiki, Lasunga Tapuai, Lotufuli, Manuko, Moe Hey, hey. You should all know that from Tina, the movie. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That's a trick one. That's a trick one. So you reciprocate it. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you all, and have all the best for elections. All the best for elections. Okay, we'll see you next term.
Wow. Okay, thank you. It's hard to acknowledge these presentations. So kia ora, and thank you for sharing yourselves with us today. It's a lovely part of this committee. And apart from where are the tissues, do we have any other questions? Councillor Foley.
Kia ora, thank you, Chair, and I just did want to take this opportunity to thank you both panels again, but a special thank you, of course, to the panel that I've worked with, and I thank the Mayor and Councillor Ferry for the opportunity to work with our Pacific Peoples Advisory Panel this term. I guess just a question, your advice, because it is true we've increased engagement with our community, which has been awesome, but what would be your golden nugget piece of advice after this term to us as a council, and how we can further improve the way that we engage with our Pasifika community? Kia ora. Yes, to the Pacific Peoples Advisory Panel.
Whaftai rawa lotu, au whionga tapo I Furi, whai ane level, pa ia Sam whainga. Everyone say more. More. Yeah, more. More resource. More of everything. Grassroots movements work. To the churches, to the communities, us not expecting for them to come Queen Street, but us going to them in the suburbs, in our neighbourhoods, in our community centres, in the community hubs, in the churches, in the mosques, going out to them. More resource, more support, more of our languages, more translations, more videos, more creative ways of using social media, more impact for young people. Just more, and more. And more demographic panels, if you want us to come, more money for us, more money for everything. But it's just like watering a plant. The more you water the plant, so the plant's growing. It's growing. Horticulturally, it's growing. But if we don't keep watering it, something might happen. But thank you for the question for me to say more right now.
Kia ora. Are there other questions? Oh, Councillor Ferry. And I just do want to acknowledge Councillor Filipaina. Alf would love to have been here. He's at a ministerial forum in Wellington and wishes he could be here, and he'd be sending lots of support to all of you. So kia ora. Councillor Ferry.
Yeah, kia ora. And I wanted to, my question is for the Disability Advisory Panel, but I did want to acknowledge one of the key differences that the Pacific Peoples Advisory Panel has made in that consultation space is that in your plan this time, the process had sessions run by people from different Pacifica communities, and it's the first time I think that's happened. So there was a Niuean session and Samoan session and stuff. In the past, we've always done whānau that have brought together, and there is a place for that, but the panel identified that it would also be valuable to have these sessions that focused on specific island groups and things like that, and that was something that many panel members contributed to voluntarily in their own time. So I just wanted to mention that. But my question to the disability panel was particularly for Barry. This is you haven't really engaged with council up close in the past, and I wondered if you had any particular reflections, having come in as a total outsider really, and your first time. Not on the inside, but sort of knocking on the door, I guess, just sitting a little bit outside, but having some inside knowledge and experience. Is it what you thought it would be?
I think it's been very interesting, because I think in some way it's been very engaging and to actually be part of the process. But it's been very disappointing to be at meeting where councillors are busy doing other work and we're presenting and they're busy sitting there. They arrive late and then they start working on stuff that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, and they're here for us to listen to us. That's an insult to us, and it's rude. But on the whole, I found it really empowering as somebody that pays rates and is part of a community that I love very much, Auckland. So yeah, and I think the process is very valuable in meeting everybody and the encouragement that we get from so many councillors around the room that do engage and do listen to what we're saying.
Hilda, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dalton, Deputy Chair.
Kia ora. Barry, I'm going to try and turn this into a question. I meant to email you and say what a wonderful job you did at the COVID inquiry. I watched you. And so to turn that into a question, how different is that? How different is the engagement you're finding on the advisory panel in terms of effectiveness to presenting at something like a central government inquiry?
Thank you for that. It was a really good experience, but I think it was a help to have gone with the council first and actually engaged with the council as part of the Royal Commission, because I learnt a lot from what happened from the council perspective and being able to put that into my individual, because they asked me individually, not as an advisory panel member to go. But it was very empowering to be heard and for people to listen to how it affected, because it really did affect disabled people incredibly badly.
Thank you for that. And just one for Simon. Thank you so much. So these are connected to a vessel? Yeah. Kia ora. Thank you.
Yes, we supported his time trying to get into mayor and then trying to get into parliament. And he's been an inspiration to many generations now of leadership, and so we build upon his legacy. And it suits your top. Thank you.
Kia ora, well, then there are no more questions. Sorry.
One of the councillors asked a question before about what's one piece of advice, and she put it out to all the committees. The one piece of advice I would get is to see disabled people as an economic value. We're not just a charity. We might have charities that raise money to try and support us, but we are an economic value. What you do for us affects people coming from overseas or to Auckland, because usually it's 3 or 4 people that come with one disabled person, and you should stop seeing us as a charity. We are of economic value. We spend money in this city, and we want to be able to access the whole city, not just part of it. So that's the one piece of advice I would say to all councillors: see us as an economic value. How many people what? I employ 150 people in our business, and over a quarter of them are disabled. So I put the 15% as our amount of people that we employ, and they still have to get the job. It's not just given to them because they're disabled. They actually have to earn the job, and we help people to go on to a lot of other jobs. So I put my money as it's my own private business where my mouth is.
Kia ora, Barry. And I think your comments about making sure we make the city accessible for all probably does apply to all the panels and all the people, but if we do make it right and accessible for you and the communities you're representing here, it should be accessible for everyone. So I think it shouldn't be a hard task, but we're definitely working on it, and without you all here to speak to us, it wouldn't be as easy to move forward. So kia ora. Right, so we'll move on now to our youth and our Rainbow Community Advisories panels. Kia ora all, and you know the drill. Please bring your mics closer to you, just to make sure everyone here and online can hear. And I'm sure you will show me who's going to kick off. Kia ora.
Cool, I'll be kicking off with the Youth Advisory Panel. Kia ora koutou, ko sanat tōku ingoa. This is Kritika, my co-chair for the Youth Advisory Panel this term, and it's great to be here. I think, obviously very hard to appreciate just in words how powerful what we've seen just happen, and the power that our communities exhibit on an almost daily basis and in these spaces can have. But I just wanted to take a moment before we get into the weeds of our report to talk about why it is we're here, just to recenter us around what the vision of these advisory panels and these sector panels really are. And I had two main points. The first one being it's to center the voices of those communities that are often not around the council table. Now, the mayor made a remark to me outside that I'm beginning to look a little bit older than I was when I started, and that's certainly true. But when I look around this table as well, perhaps not as young as we'd like it to be for the city. But ultimately, it's about centering the voices in each of your decisions of those communities that are not here in this room with you today, because those lives are deeply affected by the decisions you guys make on a daily basis. The advisory panels are ultimately a recognition of the unique power of Auckland's diverse communities, and we've seen that today. We've seen how it can move us to tears, how it can move us to laughter, how it can move us to curiosity. It's not just a space for us to sit here and criticize council, but a space for us to work alongside each other to build, design, and deliver the results that will benefit all Aucklanders from all walks of life in an equitable way. This is because what we bring to our panels are a love for our communities, the aspirations of our communities, and most critically, the lived experiences which we are always presenting here today, in which we urge you to weave into a cohesive picture of what Auckland really can be. So, setting that vision up, how did the Youth Advisory Panel set out to realize this vision throughout our term? We had three primary strategic priorities. Number one, connection and belonging. We wanted to advocate for a Tamaki Makaurau in which all youth have a pathway to meaning and a place to be. The second, a resilient Auckland, where all youth in Tamaki Makaurau can navigate our city with ease and contribute to the future vision of what the city looks like. And number three, thriving young people. All youth in Tamaki Makaurau feel a sense of belonging in our city and that their voices ultimately matter in the decisions that you make here. So, how are we able to push the needle on achieving those strategic priorities? Well, a couple of different areas. The first one was the Thriving Rangatahi Plan, which we presented extensively here, but want to again shout out Mackenzie and the team for doing an amazing piece of work in rehauling and creating an ambitious and bold proposal for what young people's relationship with this council looks like and how young people fit into the future vision for the city as well. If we're talking about golden nugget pieces of advice for how to engage with diverse communities, my one piece of advice, implement that plan. Not only has it been extensively consulted on and agreed upon in the Youth Advisory Panel and other youth workers in the youth sector, it is a plan that is holistic, it's representative, and it's intergenerational as well. What's good for young people is also good for future generations and everyone around this table as well right now in this moment. The second is advocacy on emergency management and flood planning. The Youth Advisory Panel spent a lot of time in rooms where we're talking about how Auckland emergency management deals with climate-related emergencies, but more broadly brought in that vision that we need for the long term in terms of how do we respond to the climate crisis that we have at hand. Now, ultimately, we want this to be a city where young people continue to stay, build their lives, jobs, homes, futures. And if we're going to ensure that, we need to make sure that this city is leading the fight in the South Pacific, in this region, in responding to the climate crisis. And we've continually advocated for that in our time in these spaces. And the last one is youth entrepreneurship. I think there's an appreciation here for the enterprising nature of all Aucklanders and the fact that they can set up businesses, they can solve problems that they see in their communities and in their lives. And there's specific, and throughout our time, there's a specific recognition that a future vision of the city should include pathways and infrastructure and pipelines that enable young entrepreneurs to step up and lead the country in terms of how we do business and how we create jobs and opportunities for the future as well. I'll pass on to Kritika to continue this explanation.
Awesome. So we've also focused our efforts on 3 core areas: transport, student life, and civic engagement. So transport has been a consistent focus. We've provided input on the Auckland Transport Regional public transport plan, so offering feedback on what works and what could be improved to make public transport more accessible and efficient for our young people. We've also received updates on public transport safety initiatives, which has allowed us to continue our advocacy for safer transport options. This directly ties into our engagement with the City Centre Student Action Plan, with Auckland being New Zealand's largest student city with 50,000 tertiary students. And a central theme for our panel has also been civic engagement and elections. It's been great to have YAP representation on the Cross Panels Elections Working Group. Our engagement has helped tailor council campaigns and accessibility of information. So being part of the pathway approach has been great to work towards youth engagement in local elections. In short, our work this year has been about actively shaping our city's future. We've taken great strides in creating a diverse and what we like to call it as a learning ecosystem, ensuring that young people are not just consulted, but are genuine partners in building a more inclusive and responsive Auckland.
And on that tone, just to wrap it up, I guess our key takeaway as the Youth Advisory Panel is that if we're going to get serious about responding to the challenges that Auckland faces right now and into the future, we need to urgently bring together all of these threads. That's not just young people. We've talked about the power of the intersectionality that our panels have. It's bringing the threads from the rainbow community. It's bringing the threads from the Pacific Peoples community. It's bringing the threads from the disabled. And all of our demographic advisory panels are sector advisory panels. And it's about centering their needs, their aspirations, and their vision for what the city can be. If we can do that in a concentrated and structured manner to develop a vision for Auckland that is functional, it's budgeted for, and most importantly, centers the well-being of each of our communities and each of our constituents, you see represented in front of you today, we can do courageous, bold, and ambitious things to make this a city worth living in. And in doing so, what we need from Auckland Council is for you to take that step, for you to be those leaders, to collectively establish what that vision is, and then bring us all together to empower us to achieve it collectively as well. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you to the amazing staff that has supported us throughout this journey, Vic, Millie, John. Thank you to the rest of the co-chairs. Thank you, Councillors Ferry, Shane, appreciate it, Your Worship. The beard might be trimmed a little bit later on just to make me feel a bit younger again. We'll pass it on very graciously but very appreciatively to our colleagues from the Rainbow Advisory Panel. Take it away, Josh.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Josh Martin ahau, he uri ahau no Hokianga me Awahau, e noho ana ahau ki Tamaki Makaurau. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I was going to say tonight, not night. It's so nice to see you all. Your Worship, thank you for having us. Councillor Hills, Councillor Ferry. I feel like I'm just going to say thank you to everyone, but Vic, McLean, Millie, Duncan, and also mihi to you, Edward, and te kawerau Maki, and also to Tom, who I can't see here, maybe he's not here. Kia ora. Today, we bring into the room the voices of our community, and we know that the desire is for us to share what we've achieved. And I feel like I could just say ditto to all the stuff that everyone else has done, because we've all done really similar mahi around the LTP, COVID response inquiry, Auckland emergency management. We've done some stuff with Rainbow, DE and I. But today we wanted to talk to the fact that we went out to the community and we want to bring their voices in. From the very beginning of our time as co-chairs together, we were really aware that Teresa and I and our panel are just two voices who represent a whole community of others. And so we want to center their voices in the room today. Let me work my thingy that I've never used before. Our kōrero doesn't sit in isolation. The themes raised in the Rainbow, hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. It's going to scroll down in 2 secs. Yeah, it doesn't. We don't exist in isolation. The themes raised in the Rainbow Spaces are echoed across the disability, ethnic, youth, seniors, and Pacific panels. So these are not separate struggles. They are overlapping realities, and the strength of these panels in our experience has been a collective voice and grounded in the lived experiences of our communities. I'll speak to 3 themes that we acknowledge from our communities, and I'll pass over to Teresa to talk about the safety element. Theme 1 is around representation and leadership. Representation is not just symbolic, it is survival. Rainbow Rangatahi told us that they need leaders who look like them, Takatapui, MVP, FAF, wahine, Asian and ethnic voices at decision-making tables. Because when leadership doesn't reflect the community, these groups feel invisible. Mentorship is vital. Our rangatahi need to see a pathway into leadership to know that they are part of the future of this city. And that's just to echo what Sanat spoke about in Kutika as well. That if they don't see themselves represented, then how do they see a pathway forward and their voices being elevated? Theme 2, resourcing and infrastructure. Communities ask for sustainable fundings, not just year-to-year survival. They ask for a rainbow hub, a safe central place to gather in a place where they feel safe enough to be their whole selves, a place of social inclusion, where our people can gather. They ask for increased support for rainbow charities like the Charlotte Museum to preserve and to share our stories. This isn't charity, this is infrastructure. It's about building stability, not patching gaps. And the third theme that I'll speak about is council's role and visibility, which is that trust is built by action. Our communities want council to stand with them. That means signing things like the Pride Pledge, like the things that I want to acknowledge your mayor and Phil Wilson. When the Rainbow Crossing happened, when the Te Atatu stuff happened, it was really immediate, the call and the calling out that kind of behaviour and your support. And I really want to acknowledge it because we saw it really quickly and our community felt seen and safe and valued. And Richard, just the way that you always got our back, we really felt that. And those are examples that we want to keep seeing, that we want to see ourselves reflected in conversation. Whenever anything happens, there's such an urgency about support. This includes inclusive, accessible facilities across the city. We also believe that when the council shows up, it sends a simple message that we belong here. I'm going to pass over to you now, Teresa, to talk about.
I bought a piece of paper. Then I get to sit next to the youth panel with the flash thing. Anyway, so kia ora koutou katoa, ko Teresa Platt-Tokuinga. I'm the co-chair of the Rainbow Community Panel. And I'm at the end of my 6 years on this panel. It's been amazing. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today and to be on the panel for the last 5 to 6 years. The panel called a public hui earlier this year to discuss safety, as this is a critical priority in our community. And I am on my soapbox, and others will have heard this already. We don't feel safe on our streets or in our offices, sometimes in our homes, and definitely not in our identities. It's been tough times recently, from the painting over of rainbow crossings to cancellations and violence at libraries and parades, to the proposed cancellation of woke DE&I activities by our senior politicians. Events which bring us together and celebrate our identities have been cancelled or not funded. Good examples of this are the cutting of the Rainbow Games funding by central government, and the Gay Games bid terminated by Tātaki Auckland Unlimited this year. The most poignant for me was the recent cancellation of the Lil Gay Out. This is a secondary school event bringing over 400 rainbow rangatahi together to learn about all things rainbow, to show them they have a community and the love that comes with that. A woman who needs to wear a tinfoil hat with an anti-trans agenda put out a podcast correlating the Little Gay Out to a cult, suggesting that the school in Auckland and the main organisers and supporters were indoctrinating children to become rainbow. It was appalling to watch because this woman really believed what she was saying. More appalling, however, was that this podcast resulted in the cancellation of the Little Gay Out, 400 disappointed students, and doubt in its ongoing future. The video that this woman put out showed the name and the website of the main organiser, the school. Some of the speakers lined up to speak, and when I reached out to the organiser, she wouldn't contact me via email for fear of reprisals. She was on leave due to the fear and stress of being attacked in this way. The school will no longer have anything to do with the event. The police are involved but can't really help until an event is held. Rainbow community leaders are too frightened to speak out and stand against this type of attack. When Destiny Church attacked the Rainbow community publicly in February of this year, what you didn't hear was the church's identification of organisations apparently grooming children. So, for instance, Rainbow Youth, accused of grooming children. And the release of personal addresses of board chairs and their CEOs, and Destiny Church encouraging their members to go and protest against them. Scary stuff. Last month, one of our panel members ran a youth market on the North Shore for young Rainbow people to sell their goods. During the morning, a man stood outside and videoed that whole thing. Everyone walking in and out and the activities going on. And this menacing type of behaviour affects our communities, our rangatahi, but it affects all of our rangatahi, not just the Rainbow ones. So we've appreciated the support of the Mayor and councillors and staff, and we've said thank you very much when these attacks happened earlier this year. And we have felt really supported and loved and protected by you all. The role of the panel is to bring these lived experiences to the table and to work with you to make things better, especially for those who come after us, and acknowledging those who came before us. So unfortunately, we still have a lot more work to do. But kia ora, thank you very much.
And just to wrap up, the message from our communities feel very simple, but perhaps hard and very complicated. We just need to feel safe. We need to be seen and we need to be supported. But I do want to end with this, that the real value of our panels has not just been the rainbow voice, but it's in the shared strength of all of the advisory panels. Together we bring lived experience, diverse communities and perspectives that council cannot hear anywhere else. I've really felt the whakawhanaungatanga that we have together when I consider those who are leaving. And I think about the time we've been together, that we've shared real common struggles and challenges as not just individuals, but and not just a community, but as peers. And as we leave today, or as we gather here today, to know that we're in the same room, to be able to share this final report and to say that there's such value in our shared voices. They're different, but they're similar. And the opportunity to be able to be on these panels has been a real life-changing opportunity. And I really want to mihi to you, Mayor Brown, and for the opportunity to be here as a collective. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you.